Hey friends, I hope this finds you doing well. I wanted to just share real quickly from a verse that kept rolling over in my mind. I memorized it in the King James so many years ago, but it comes from 1 Corinthians chapter number 15 and verse number 34. He said, "Awake to righteousness and sin not, for some have not the knowledge of God. I speak this to your shame." Well, all through the book of Corinthians, Paul is giving the church some admonitions and corrections on things that they had been involved in and didn't fit them. And I was thinking through the week, I'm like, what do we as disciples really need? Because we often live with an attitude of lack. Lord, I need this. Or maybe, Lord, I want more of this. And it might be good things. It could be like, I want more power and I want to be more righteous and I want to be holier. And those are all, right, like we think positive things. But Paul tells the Christians at Corinth that what we need more than anything else is to wake up. He says to them, awake to righteousness. It's almost the idea that they had fallen into a drunken stupor with all of their consumption, if you will, in our era, their consumerism. He says, awake to righteousness. Why? Because we are the very righteousness of God in Christ. And that's what we Christians in this world need to learn and discover. We need to wake up. Hey, God has made you the very righteousness of God and Christ. Awake to righteousness because you are righteous. It's not like try to become more righteous. It's awaken to that righteous. He says, listen, you are new creatures in Christ Jesus. You've died. You were buried. You rose again. You're a new man. You're righteous. But he says, awake to righteousness. And the reason that's an important little distinction is because the righteousness means it's the righteous deeds that we do. And these righteous deeds flow from who God has made us to be. And so Paul is telling them, wake up to your true identity. Come to the realization, if you will, of who you are, whose you are. This is what we need to be reflecting on as we live in the world, because righteousness is to be how we live in this fallen world. People who live out, people who seek what is right in every situation, in every circumstance. He said, awake to righteousness and sin not. It is foreign for the saint to live in sin, meaning it doesn't suit who God has made us to be. He doesn't say awake to righteousness and sin not, or you're going to lose your salvation. Awake to righteousness and sin not, or God's going to get you. He says, awake to righteousness and sin not, for some have not the knowledge of God. Think about that. Do not go on sinning, because there's a whole world of people who don't know God. They don't know Him experientially. They don't know Him intimately. They've not been born again of His love and light. So don't go on sinning, because when you go on sinning in the world, when you live as a Christian but disregard what is right, what is just, what is good, what is true, what is pure, when you just live for yourself as a consumer in the world, when you live as the world lives, where you're just seeking more stuff, he says, man, the world doesn't see Christ in us. The world doesn't see Christ living through us. Now, please make sure you understand. I'm not talking about a dead religious moralism where we're talking about people who just follow a certain set of rules, a modern day Phariseeism. No, not that at all. But a people who both absorb, soak in the love and life of God, who realize the incredible work that God has done for them, as them, in them, and desires to do through them. And then he says, awaken to this, because man, the world around you, they need to see Christ living through you. He says, I speak this to your shame. It's a shame when the church is not known as the body of believers, the people who are the ones who are seeking out what is right in the world, who forget about injustice in the world, who just live like people in the world who are consumers and seeking just more and more consumption, but get to go to heaven when they die. You say, no, friends, the gospel is something far different. It's a life that is abundant here and now, and how Christ wants to live through us. Now, Christianity, when Paul is writing this, is the minority, the persecuted, the afflicted, those who were pushed down and had no hope of getting ahead. And Jesus is very much against the empire system of the world. But Paul says, seek it out, pursue it, awaken to who he's made you to be. And now let that righteousness, that righteous doing, that righteous living, which is the expression of what God is for us, being expressed through us, let the world see it. So friends, I don't know. I hope this encourages you. Maybe you found yourself in a bit of a spiritual slumber. Wake up. Don't try and be righteous. You are righteous. Christ lives in you. Now, let him live through you. That's all. Hey, I hope this blesses and encourages you, and I hope that you'll pass it on. I hope to see you very, very soon. God bless.